anybody is about done with their luncheon or continue on with the program, for the most important part of the program right now, let's introduce Mr. Robertson, who is going to do our master of ceremonies and make the presentation to the new society board.
Well, once again, welcome everybody for this annual meeting for the induction for the Vista Historical Society Hall of Fame. I am Tom Robertson. I thank you for inviting me back again. Hopefully I kept a lot of you entertained during the COVID year. If you subscribe to the Vista Press, I'm the one that put in 29 different articles concerning trivia that you could have collected. And you can still go to the archives, by the way, print them out, because a lot of you sent us little emails telling us that you were using them for family games everywhere, so we appreciate that very, very much. I do want to start off before we get into the inductions here to apologize to Chuck Rabel. Chuck, I am wearing a tie, and I know Chuck says Vista is a no-tie city, as we are reminded every single government affairs meeting that I cover that Chuck attends. Right, Chuck? Yeah, he comes in with scissors to cut off our presenters' ties. It gets really embarrassing, but that's okay. The Vista Historical Society since 1989 has been inducting members, and right now there are over 100 Hall of Fame members, and that you're to be congratulated for that. So let's get started here. We're going to have our first presenter for the induction for Bainbridge and Nancy Larkin. Bainbridge and Nancy lived in Vista for many years. He was a practicing dentist, and both he and Nancy participated in the civic life of Vista. They were known for their encouragement in music and schools and created Valley Fort on the way to Fallbrook. I drove by that the other day. It is now a Mexican restaurant, and you can ask Eleanor and Anita if they know the name of it over there if you are interested in it. So it is still there. And please give a warm welcome to Russell Harvey, who will be making the presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Russ Harvey, and I'm on the board of directors for the Vista Historical Society. I'm honored today to do this presentation. Bainbridge Morris Larkin and Nancy Jane Larkin have just been inducted into the Hall of Fame. They're pretty important people as far as Vista history goes. Bainbridge was known to his friends and family as Dick, so I won't be calling him Bainbridge through the presentation. They moved to Vista in the spring of 1949 with their 3 children. They had 3 children at the time. Bainbridge Morris Larkin was born April 16, 1917 in Georgetown, Massachusetts. His childhood home was built in 1915 by his parents, and his niece, restored the house, and it's now registered with the Massachusetts Historical Commission as the Larkin Morris Richardson House. In high school, Dick played on the football and baseball team, and he played trombone in his high school orchestra. Nancy Larkin was born Nancy Jane Cooper in Bel Air, Ohio on December 16, 1916. Her father was Kenneth G. Cooper. He was a lawyer and an active member of the Presbyterian Church in Bel Air, Ohio. Her mother was Florence Long Cooper? Yes. She was an Ohio State graduate, and she was very active in civic affairs. And her mother also graduated valedictorian of her high school class. Dick and Nancy met at Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania, where they majored in economics and sociology, respectively. After graduating from Swarthmore, Dick went to work for Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance and was sent to Hartford, Connecticut. Nancy returned to Ohio, where she became a social worker. They were married on December 30th, 1939. Nancy moved to Hartford with Dick, and in the fall of 1940, Dick entered the dental program at Tufts University in Boston. Their first child, David Morse Larkin, who's also one of my closest friends in the world, was born on April 3rd, 1941. After the attack on Pearl Harbor the same year, December 7th, Tufts dental program was taken over by the U.S. Navy. The Navy accelerated the dental program to prepare dentists for active duty. Dick was stationed at Newport, Rhode Island. Their second child, Janet Adams Larkin, was born March 15th, 1944. Due to his outstanding performance as a dental student, Dick was employed by the Navy to teach younger dental students to help ready them for active duty. In 1945, the war ended. Dick and 4-year-old David came to California. Nancy and young Janet joined them after Dick secured a home for them in La Jolla. Dick took over a retiring dentist practice in La Jolla. Their third child was born on February 29th, 1948, Daniel Cooper Larkin. The family spent 3 years living in La Jolla before moving to Vista in the spring of 1949. At the time, Vista was, as most of you know, an agricultural community, about 5,000 people. Slightly more, or slightly less than our current population. But we had our own watershed, having secured an aqueduct from Lake Henshaw to Lake Wolford, right, in 1926. So we had our own watershed. We had our own water source. The school district at the time was regarded to be among the finest in the county. And of course, the climate is second to none. So the Larkins purchased a home on Hillside Terrace, right? 3.5 acres with 1.5 acres of avocado trees and 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath house for $25,000. Their property shared a boundary with Charles and Nita Royer. Some of you knew John and Nancy, great people. Their fourth child, Bainbridge Morse Larkin Jr., was born August 19th, 1949. Around this time, Dick hired Sally Castillo, later Sally De Leon, very important Vista people, the De Leons. So they hired her to help Nancy with the new baby and setting up their new home. Dick and Nancy immediately immersed themselves in the activities of Vista. Dick joined the Junior Chamber of Commerce and was involved in the organization of Vistacado Days in the early 50s. Dick organized Vista's only band review with the help of Jimmy Jameson, who was the longtime chairman of the All-Western Band Review in Long Beach. That was an annual event in which high school bands competed. So Dick was instrumental in bringing that to Vista. At the time of the Korean War, Dick was recalled by the Navy and stationed at Camp Pendleton. Nancy was active in several community groups. The Community Church of Vista, the Triple M, which was a women's group, and the Panhellenic Society, which was an organization of college sorority women. David and Nancy were both involved with the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Dental A, and high school sports. Now, I don't know, most of you are familiar with David's property out on Hutchison. A very important piece of, it's a real gem as far as local history goes. His dad located that property, 10 acres with a year-round stream, and he built the pond out there under the direction of the Soil Conservation Service. Lou Witt was a longtime Vista resident, and he excavated the pond. In 1954, Dr. Larkin was released from the Navy and his family sold the property in Hutchinson Street and moved back to Massachusetts to attend to family matters. But in 1956, they returned. Dick set up a new dental office in the Rancho Buena Vista Adobe, which was owned at the time by Dr. Walter and Anastasia Wheel, very important Vista people. The Larkins and the Wheels became close friends. Dick and Mr. Wheel planned the first medical offices in Vista, across the street from the original Vista High School. Sometime around 1957, Dick and Nancy formed the Vista Band Boosters organization. Dick used his Camp Pendleton connections to bring members of the Marine Corps Band to drill the Vista High School Band into an award-winning unit. Dr. Larkin served on the Palomar College Board of Directors from 1958 to 1961. In 1960, Dick and Nancy purchased a 10-acre piece of land on Mission Road in Fallbrook at the confluence of two streams and built what became known as Valley Fort, which a lot of you are familiar with. It used to be a great place, now it's just another Mexican restaurant, but that's all right. So at the time, they had a general store that housed antiquities from New England and a restaurant. Dr. Larkin had a busy dental practice in Vista from 1949 to 1963. He was known as the gentle dentist, and he had a reputation for helping those in need of dental treatment, regardless of their ability to pay. In 1963, the Larkins moved back to Massachusetts. Dr. Larkin had an opportunity to teach at Tufts Dental School and to do graduate work in the area of prosthetics. They remained in Massachusetts until 77 or 78 when they moved to Santa Rosa, is that right? Santa Rosa, where they finished their lives there. But if you folks are not familiar with Dave's property, I mean, it's not a museum or anything, it's private property. It's really a special place, and I'm sure if you talk to him, he'd be more than happy to accommodate you. It's really awesome.
Y'all come out.
And there's a big party afterward. Hey, Dave, do you want to say something, or are you good? Thanks for your time, guys.
Just briefly, I first of all, I want to thank the Historical Society, those members who made the selection. It means a lot to our family. My dad was kind of a nomad. He didn't know where he wanted to be, whether it was going to be New England or California. And I personally, as the first one was born, not that it was any different for any of the other children. Janet, my sister, and by the way, she wishes she could be here, but for health reasons she can't. And Daniel, and my brother being predeceased, the rest of us. At any rate, I want to thank you all for that. And if you'll give me your names, I'll see that you all get a check. No, seriously. The older you get, the more I think you appreciate your parents. And I want to say that all of us in the family, brothers and sisters, we really had great parents. And I can't say enough. I have so much respect for both my mother and father, and they were very different. My mother could never get away with anything. My mother, she always knew. And she kind of was the stabilizer in the family. But anyway, thank you all very much.
Before we proceed with our next presentation, let's get a picture. Once again, before we proceed with our next presentation, I think you guys deserve to do a round of applause for yourselves. This is the largest gathering Shadowridge Country Club has had in well over a year coming out of this COVID pandemic. So congratulations. All right, our next presentation will be for Ron Holloway. Ron was a civil engineer by profession, is known as one of the founders of the Alta Vista Gardens, as one of its chief strategists over the years. He and others dedicated, and the other dedicated volunteers have made the gardens what they are today. And presenting our presentation and acceptance for the induction for Ron Holloway will be Wayne Campbell.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank all the 8 new members who are going to be joining the Hall of Fame. It's quite an accomplishment and quite an honor. It's been well deserved, I'm sure. One of those members is my good friend Ron Holloway. I've been a good friend of Ron's probably over 40 years now, and he's got a heart of gold, and we've done a lot of many things. But I'm trying to be good tonight, so I try to keep it clean as well. So, Ron was born and raised in Central California. He graduated from San Jose State University with a degree in civil engineering in 1974. He obtained his civil engineering license in 1978. He moved to North County in 1978 and married Dean in 1979. Has 2 wonderful kids, Corey and Ashley, and 3 wonderful grandkids. He bought a home in 1980 and is still living there as well. He started BHA, Civil Engineering, Surveying, and Planning in 1985 in the Torrey Pines Bank in Vista. He's been in that business for over 36 years. And his son has been working with him for over 16 years. He joined the Amigo de Vista Lions Club in 1986 and was a past president twice and been a member for over 35 years. He's a member of the Community Development Association past president. He served on the City Vista Traffic Commission and Park Recreation Commission. He coached Vista Youth Basketball. He was a member of the City of Vista Youth Basketball Advisory Board. He served as the treasurer on the Vista Sales Initiative Program. And presently, he's the president of the Alta Vista Gardens, served as the treasurer and been on the board since 1999. I have to commend you, Ron. And if you haven't been up to the gardens, they have done a wonderful job, him and the staff up there. Every time I go up there, and every year I visit it, and I get involved myself with it, it keeps changing to the better. So if you haven't had a chance to get up there and see this wonderful garden that we have at Vista, that we should be very proud of, you have to see it and see the improvements they have made up there. And I don't know if you realize, but his granddaughter, Isabella, and him are probably one of the largest egg growers here in Vista. I get my eggs twice a month from him, and they're the great eggs. If you need eggs, ask Ron, he'll get you some eggs. I've been fishing with Ron many times, and we had a recent trip in the fall up in Wyoming on the Green River, and did our share of good fishing. And I had a friend of mine, Ken Bouchard, and his partner in a card game that we lost that night, and we had to sleep in the teepee that night. So I won't go any further than that, but it was quite a deal that night. We've had trips down to New Orleans and just had a wonderful time. He's a good friend, a dear friend. So it's my honor to present to you Ron Holloway.
I want to thank the Vista Historical Society for honoring me with this presentation today. I've been in Vista over 40 years and really enjoyed the community. It's a lot different than Central California, I'll tell you. And I'm lucky that I've been involved with the Lions Club and the Vista Botanical Gardens. It only succeeds because of the great people that we work with and serve with. There's several people here at the table with me that are on the board. And Nancy, I think, sat at the table. But,
over here, honey.
there you are. But I've been lucky to work with some great people. The garden succeeds because of all the people we have and the volunteers that support it. And I thought I wore a shirt that's appropriate for the Catholic garden. You might like that. Anyway, I thank you for the award. Appreciate it. I wish my wife could be here.
Because what happens is they layer and
And everybody should be reminded that during this horrible COVID outbreak, Alta Vista is one of the few places around Vista where you could actually go and wander around free of everything that was going on in the outside world. So, incredible place. Our next presentation for the induction to the Vista Historical Society will be for Ted Hatalis. Ted was born and raised in Vista and lived at Rancho Minerva for most of his life, as well as farming at the ranch. He was a noted realtor and developer. And presenting the information about Ted and accepting the award, also with Ted, will be his son, Nicholas.
Thank you, everybody. I'm not going to go through all the details that's in the biography. Probably take a while, but let me just make a few comments on my dad, Ted and Talis. First of all, he'd be absolutely thrilled to be elected to the Hall of Fame. And the reason was just he loved Vista. He loved everything about Vista. He loved Rancho Minerva. He's one of the few people that was able to grow up, actually born in Vista, Rancho Minerva, 1923, and lived his whole life up to a point on Rancho Minerva. Of course, back then was quite different. It was much different than today. It was an agricultural kind of community, and the Talis family was starting that cattle business. But he went away for World War II, and he came back, and he went to college. And he was trying to decide what to do after college. And he went to his college counselor, and he was discussing some options. And he made the mistake of showing the counselor some pictures of Vista, Rancho Minerva, and the avocado grows. And the counselor says, "Are you crazy? This is paradise. Why would you ever want to leave Vista?" So he didn't. He came back to Vista, and he never regretted it. Along the time, 1963, he married my mother. And me and my two sisters were raised in Rancho Minerva. An incredible experience living on a ranch like that. Experience that a lot of kids don't get today. And we learned a lot, of course, but things were changing. During the 1970s, of course, the citrus business and the avocado business got very tough. It was tough to make money, and the trees were getting older, and there was foreign competition, especially in avocados. But my dad never gave up maintaining the ranch. He was always working very hard, not only a day job, but on the weekends to make sure the ranch just was sustainable and looked good. And as you know, it's a lot of work to have all those trees and water them, and fertilize, all that stuff. So he wanted to never get away from the way the ranch looked in the 60s or the 50s and before that. He felt that that was his legacy, to maintain Rancho Minerva, and especially what Vista was like at that time. And as the years went by, it was clear that the ranch wasn't going to be like it was. In the early 1990s, the Vista School District was approaching the family about acquiring the land. I think some of you know the story. It ended up in eminent domain in 1993. And for the Talis family, we were very saddened because we thought that was going to be the end of Rancho Minerva after 80 plus years. But there's a silver lining to this story. A couple of things happened. The first was that the Rancho Minerva adobe, that actually my grandfather named it Rancho Minerva, after the goddess of wisdom. And he always instilled, and my father too, instilled the value of wisdom and education. And so how fitting was it that the land would become Rancho River Middle School? And that thrilled my dad, because that value was so important. And to think that generations of Vista kids would be educated on that property and grow up and to be the future of Vista was just really special. It couldn't have happened the other way. And secondly, through a number of fortunate circumstances, the Rancho Minerva adobe became the Vista Historical Society Museum. That was very special too, how it happened. It gave my dad great joy to walk around the grounds of Rancho Minerva after that, and just remember his boyhood years and how well the house was preserved, not just for the family, of course, but for anybody who comes visit. And we should always promote that, because it's kind of going back in time and seeing how good it really was. One of the great joys of his life was his 90th birthday party, which we had in Rancho Minerva with all his friends and family, and the same patio that he grew up in as a little boy. And even to this day, Rancho Minerva is well preserved and serves as a memory of how Vista was, and remains a very beautiful symbol of this area. So in closing, I'd really like to thank all the members of the Vista Historical Society, especially Jack and the board members. I also want to thank Mr. Eckert. Mr. Eckert came into this period where, I don't know if you remember, but the house was rented out for a while after eminent domain. It was rented out, and then it became the museum. But in that period, the house was kind of run down. It was abused and kind of torn apart, and my dad was very saddened by that. And Mr. Eckert and others came in and repaired things, and they brought it back to the way it was back in the 60s or 70s. And so the Hunt House family owes a great debt to the Eckert family for that. Thank you very much for everybody to maintain this society and to continue on the legacy of Vista, which we're so proud of. Thank you.
Irene, you should be up there.
We're waiting for. Careful. Yeah, there you go. I think it's 40 minutes.
Our next presentation for the Vista Hall of Fame, or the Vista Historical Society Hall of Fame, will be for Jim and Carlotta Malone. They were both teachers. They were known for their assistance with the Moonlight Amphitheater and its beginning. She in costumes and he in set construction, and appropriately handling the induction for these two individuals, Kathy Brombecker.
Wonderful to see so many friends here, and thank you, those friends who have come especially to honor Jim and Carlotta Malone, and family, I must say. Honestly, a very proud day. Jim and Carlotta are two amazing individuals who've made such a difference in our community. At Vista High School, Rancho Buena Vista High School, Monte Vista Elementary, and with the City of Vista's Moonlight Amphitheater programs. I will say that my life has been infinitely blessed by their generosity of spirit, their endless gifts of time and dedicated work for the Moonlight Amphitheater, and their true friendship. My husband, Bob Brombacher, DDS, agrees. Jim and Carlotta, a little bit about their lives. Jim and Carlotta married in 1963. They received their teaching credentials from Humboldt State. Jim picked up his master's degree there while coaching water polo and swimming. And soon he was hired to teach for Vista High School in 1971 with a full schedule of history, government, physical education, economics, and coaching swimming and water polo. And by the way, that's a schedule that begins at 5 a.m. with preschool coaching and ends at 8 p.m. with the end of varsity swim practice. Right, Jim? Quite a job. Carlotta was busy raising 3 talented children who loved to swim when Jim was also hired to coach the Vista Swim Club, a private age group swim organization. Carlotta joined in coaching with the younger children of the swim club before she began teaching full-time at Monte Vista Elementary. And by the way, Carlotta's girls team won the Coronado Girls Swimming Pentathlon her first year. It looks like Jamie was part of it. Her daughter. Jim's fondest coaching memory was winning the water polo CIF championship in 1973, 74, 75, and 76. He became a legendary coach in San Diego County, winning many league championships in boys varsity swimming as well. A crowning achievement for Jim was when he was named to the Coaching Hall of Fame in San Diego. He was in the first group of coaches from all of athletics in San Diego County to be honored as one of the coaching legends of San Diego. His photo and title was engraved at the Hall of Champions in Balboa Park, where he was honored for 35 years of coaching water polo and swimming. Yes. Jim reminded me that in Vista in the 1970s, Vista was an island in terms of competitive swimming. The high school programs had to be built from scratch locally, and anyone agreed that he was certainly the coach for it, Jim. Now, as teachers, Jim and Carlotta have logged a total of 59 years in the Vista Unified School District classrooms. And then Jim continued for 18 years teaching an ROP class in technical theater for Rancho Buena Vista High School, working with Mark Scott, who is here, and Renee Kolar-Bachman, the celebrated directors at REV. Jim even wrote the county syllabus for the theater ROP class. But theater? Oh yes, Jim and Carlotta fell in love with musical theater when their 3 children were cast in Oliver at the Moonlight Amphitheater in its first year. In fact, one article in the Vista Press in 1982 quoted them as working in the Malone Family Theater when Moonlight was in its infancy, because everyone in the family was on stage or backstage. Jim built scenery, Carlotta created costumes, and their children were actors, singers, and dancers. Remember those days? Great. Carlotta and Jim brought their work ethic, their integrity, their intellect, bookkeeping skills, and creativity to the Moonlight. In 1982, Carlotta could costume 2 full shows of actors for $1,000. That's 50 people in a cast, usually. She keeps detailed spreadsheets for each show she costumes and handles every penny of the budgets, as well as sewing and organizing rentals and fittings. She retired from Moonlight costuming last year, after 40 years of service to the theater. I only have 30, Carlotta. Jim designed and built a Fiddler on the Roof set for Moonlight Amphitheater, which could withstand a 7.0 earthquake, because he built every staircase and platform to last. Good thing, because it held a cast of 50 people. If the technical crew was stumped at Moonlight, the stage directors would say, "Jim will fix it, give it to Jim alone." You knew it would be done right. Now, Jim was also technical director for Starlight Musical Theater in Balboa Park for several years. He did that so beautifully as well. Jim and Carlotta brought their professionalism to Rancho Buena Vista High School Theater as well. Both of them have a way of inspiring students and their parents. They know how to make the work feel like fun, if it's done with discipline and organization. They have a miraculous way of inspiring young people and everyone around them. They both have built a huge legacy in this community, and this honor today is part of their wonderful history. Carlotta and Jim, we love you to the moon and back. Oh, I'm so
Up, up.
And if you didn't see the recent articles in the Vista Press, then you can certainly talk to Stephen or Betts over here. Moonlight will be open and performing in September. Is that the first one, or August? Tell me. June. Sorry about that. I'm just going to. Hey, I've been out of it for a while. I also do theater coverage all over San Diego County, and there's so many theaters opening all over the place. So in June, our first show will be live on stage. You can contact Moonlight and find out all the information you need about that. All right, our next inductee into the Vista Historical Society will be Marty Miller. Marty is well known as the coach of the Little League baseball team that went all the way to the final two in the Little League World Series. He is also a director of the Vista Irrigation District, a local contractor and civic activist. Presenting the award for Marty will be his daughter, Carrie.
First, I would like to say thank you to the Vista Historical Society for inviting us here today. I am honored to introduce my father, Marty Miller. Marty was born in Jerome, Idaho, a small farming community in the southern region of the state in 1951. He is the son of Tuffy Miller and Lois Jean. He grew up skiing Sun Valley, playing on state championship baseball teams, as well as softball teams, and was a decorated flat track dirt bike racer. After high school, he went on to the College of Southern Idaho, where he graduated with an associate's degree in drafting. He met his wife, my mom, Renette, in 1974, while working at a local hardware store. He worked in a lumberyard. She was an accountant. They were married in Twin Falls, Idaho that same year at the ripe ages of 19 and 23. Their first few years were a struggle, as they often are early in marriage. We often recall stories they tell us of Dad turning over couch cushions to find enough money to bowl with his friends on Friday night. They often wondered how they would ever afford a $221 mortgage on their first property. He eventually went to work for a framing contractor, shortly after starting his own construction company. Building is what brought us to Southern California in 1985. After months of my dad commuting between Twin Falls, Idaho and Southern California, our family left our home behind and moved the four of us to North County. After settling in Vista, my dad picked up his love of baseball again, this time with my brother Brad. He started managing Brad's Little League team in the newly founded Rancho Buena Vista Little League, which at the time lacked a true home field. He was eventually recruited by a close friend to join the Vista Optimist Club in 1997. Soon after, he saw the opportunity to offer Rancho Buena Vista Little League a home field. This was at the Vista Optimist Complex. He broke ground on that field in 1998. The entire project was completed in 2.5 years with the help of a dozen members, private and community donations, but most of all with the vision of my father. My brother and I both have memories of spending weekends with my dad at the ball field, laying blocks at the snack bar, whatever manual labor he could muster up, while he had young hands to help him. After the fields were complete, he returned to coaching. This time he managed the Reds. He went on to amass 15 winning seasons over 16 years of coaching. This is where many of you may remember him, as he went on to manage the 2005 RBVLL All-Star team, finished third in the world and second in the United States, the Little League World Series in historic Williamsport. And we have one of those young men here with us today, Reed Resnick. At the same time, he single-handedly made the handlebar mustache cool again. His contributions to our young athletes earned him the Arc of San Diego Man of the Year, as well as Man of the Year for Vista Boys and Girls Club in 2005. After giving up coaching, he became more civic-minded, has been the District 1 representative for the Vista Irrigation District. He represents our city at the San Diego County Water Authority. He has been part of multiple committees and boards, including the Poseidon Project in Carlsbad. He is now the chair of the prestigious Administration and Finance Committee. Marty is known by people in Vista as a businessman, a coach, a community advocate, and an elected official. To those who know him closest, he is a friend, a brother, a husband, and most importantly, a father and a grandfather. Now, with utmost honor, I would formally introduce you to my dad, Marty Miller.
Thank you. That's pretty hard to follow, just tears in my eyes. I thank the Historical Society for this honor. It's a great honor. I've come a long way, so to speak. I spent half my life in Idaho and did a bunch of sports and stuff. Sports has always been really good to me, and I've had a great time at it. When we moved down here, we moved here with not knowing a single person in this area. So it was quite an event to move to Southern California, and as luck would have it, we put Vista. And so our kids grew up in schools here. They both played sports at the two high schools, and it's just been our life to be in this area. The Little League World Series was a gift to me, but it wasn't all about me. We had 12 really good boys who played, were really good kids, and I had two great coaches, Joe Pimentel and Randy Resnick. I feel blessed to be here. I love being on the board, at the VID board. We have an excellent board. Vista Irrigation District is run really, really well. I know we all hate to pay our water bills, but it's a fact of life now. Water is a commodity. And I represent us on San Diego Water Authority, where we do the same thing down there, try to secure a safe, reliable source of water. The Optimist Club is a great club in Vista that a lot of people don't know about. They allowed me, along with the city selling us a piece of property, to design and build a Little League complex. And part of why I did it, well, first of all, for the club to give to the youth, but I also knew that Rancho Buena Vista was playing on borrowed fields, and it was a perfect marriage for us to build a field and have an organization take it over. It took a lot of work, all on donations. We didn't have any contracts with contractors. Nobody got rich. Nobody got paid a salary. It was all by donations, and it took 2.5 years of working weekends to build that park. And it's that I'm most proud of. I'm proud of the Little League team, that I was a part of it, not the driver. The park, I was the driver, and I'm really proud of it. And if you've never seen it, you ought to go by and take a look at it, because it's a really state-of-the-art ballpark. So I thank the Optimist Club for letting me do that. I thank VID and the voters of my district put me on that board, and I really love this community. I have a place in Idaho, and my friends all say, "You're going to move to Idaho?" And I go, "Why would I leave Vista? It's got the best weather in the United States, so why would I leave?" So I plan on being here a while, and thank you very much.
Everybody's picture's got
Our final inductee to the Vista Historical Society and the Hall of Fame, This will be Mary Regan. She will be presented by my friend, Carol Herrera.
As an old school teacher, I hope you can hear me. Because I was sitting in the corner and I had to really go like this in order to hear some people. But I was very impressed with everything that was said about so many wonderful people who live in this community, and hurrah for Vista because it's a great place to live. And my husband and I have lived here for almost 45 years, so we're really excited about the growth of the community and the wonderful people that we've encountered in our journey here. But it is my honor today to introduce to you someone that I have known for 20 years, and that is Mary Regan. Mary is a parent, she's a community organizer, she's a realtor, and she's a leader in everything in which she becomes a part of. No matter what it is, if Mary's involved, it's going to be successful and it will be done well by her. Mary has been a strong supporter of the Boys and Girls Club. Can you all hear me? Yep. Hey, I want to be heard because I'm short, but I'm going to be sweet. She's a member of the Women's Club. She's a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And I know her strength and commitment to the Kiwanis Club of Sunrise Vista, of which both of us have been members for lots of years. She has been their president and she's been a leader of that organization. She was the prime mover of the Kiwanis Grape Gatsby, which is a very fine fundraiser in this community every year, except for last year, but we're hoping to reinstall it again this year, so we're hoping to see all your wonderful faces there this year. And she's present for every Kiwanis project that we have. Mary made a very serious impact in our Vista community when she was a consistent effort in 2005 to bring the San Diego Symphony Summer Pops to Vista, if you recall. Any of you attend that in 2005? It was a wonderful project, and Mary was the prime mover of that project. For several years, she was primarily responsible for the San Diego Symphony's performance at the Moonlight Amphitheater. Mary is a Vista treasure, quiet in her own way, but getting work done, and a woman that we should all be very proud of, and she is worthy of this Hall of Fame honor. And I give you Mary Regan. Mary will have to tell you that she was born and where she was raised. I don't know any of that, and I didn't ask her for any of that because I know too many exciting things about Mary as I work with her in Kiwanis, so she can fill you in on all the rest of it.
I was born. Actually, I was born in North Dakota, and my parents moved to Southern California when I was about a year old. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a Californian. Looking around this room, I see a lot of people that I've been involved with. I actually moved to Vista about 55 years ago, and I've actually moved to Vista 7 times in those 55 years. I leave, do something else, I come back. Leave, do something else, come back. I'm here. I'm not leaving again. And in fact, if I did try to leave, my husband wouldn't go with me. And he's standing in the back. And I also want to thank my Kiwanis family that is here supporting me. You didn't have to come to this luncheon, but I really do appreciate having you here. Because my family lives elsewhere, so my Kiwanis family is my local family. And there was one thing that I wanted to say, is looking around this room, and you mentioned that this is the first event that Shadowridge has put on in over a year. This is the first time that I've said the Pledge of Allegiance standing with people in a year. I didn't
I would be emotional about that, but when I was standing there and I stood up, I've said the Pledge of Allegiance 5 or 6 times a week on Zoom. And this was very important. Thank you. Thank you to the wet face.
Hold my stomach in.
How about a huge round of applause for all of these activities for this year's Vista Historical Society. Now we turn the microphone back over to your president, Alan Spike Harvey. He has a few other things that needs to be done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks again, Mr. Robertson. That was a great presentation. Members of the Vista Historical Society Board of Directors are elected for a staggered 3-year term. This year, 3 board members have concluded their service. 2 longtime board members are retiring. Let's get Michelle Moxley and Chuck Rabel. Would you both come up here, please?
I said the same thing. She said, she called me early this morning.
Michelle's husband, Terry, who is our treasurer, is going to present these certificates of appreciation for all the hard work that they've done, and we have a special award to let them know that their continued pay will stay indefinitely with no changes. I'm sorry I can't give you a raise, but that's all we can do. Thanks again, Chuck and Michelle, for your years of service to the society.
Way to go. Okay.
This year we have, fortunately, 5 new board members who have volunteered to serve on the board of directors. We have room for more, but I'm looking forward to the input of all these members. And 2 of them, the Malones, just can't stand not being busy, I guess, because they were the first ones to volunteer to serve on this board of directors. I want to thank you both. That just keeps you, it'll keep you young. I've been here for 80 years, and I was born and raised in Vista, and a lot of you people haven't been here that long. But I've seen Vista grow from little dirt roads to freeways to a mess. The other new members we have voted on and you are going to vote on today, and if anybody says nay, I'm not going to listen to you. John Ack.
Vote nay, you have to get on the board.
Yeah. We got to get them on the board.
No, I mean, if you vote no.
Oh, yeah, you have to fill in for them, if you don't. Number 1, we've got John Aguilera, our ex-city councilman, who's on the board. He's not here today, unfortunately. I think he's out of town. But his father and I played baseball together in high school. His late father. David Larkin, who, believe it or not, when I heard he passed a bar, I said, no way, David never passed a bar in his life. And Pat Richardson, whose husband made the, late husband, made the best apple pies in the world. Thank you, Pat, for coming back on. David, Charlotte and Jim, we welcome you aboard, and I'm really looking forward to working with you, along with the rest of the board. I have a special thanks to Terry Moxley. Excuse me. Terry has just gone overboard for service on the board. He constantly is maintaining repair work at the museum, as well as holding a full-time job. He retired and decided to go back to work because he was bored. He spends hours at the museum in his spare time, serving as treasurer on the board also. I'd like to have a round of applause for Terry for his maintenance. During the shutdown due to the virus, if that's what it was, we had another major problem with a water leak that I thought would be taken care of by the VID. So the VID came out and said, oh no, that's your problem. Terry immediately contacted plumbing people to get bids with Russell digging holes in the ground trying to find where the leak was. We found the main leak and got plumbers in and got a good price from Vista Welding, and didn't have any money to do the repair work, but we had to get it done anyway. And thanks to you people who came to our rescue, we got more than enough funds in just a matter of a couple of weeks to do the entire repair work, and I thank you all. Once again, I want to thank Paul Eckert for all of his financial support over the years, and also he has a gardener that he keeps on his payroll that he sends over at his expense to do a lot of work at the museum to maintain the outside. Thank you, Paul. And lastly, so we can all go home, my shoe hurts, I got a new shoe and it cut my foot. I want to thank Jack Larimer for maintaining the museum. Though it's been shut down for 14 months, he still is working on getting grants, has still been working on getting grants to help keep our head above water, and to all you people that are here today for being here to support us. I thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Where do you go?